Hi everyone, it's Pete here from the Pain Toolkit, and a very good morning to you. And today I'm back with Richard Stace, who's a chartered physiotherapist. Good morning to you, Richmond. How are you today?
Hi Pete, yeah, good, thanks.
Okay, excellent. We had a little bit of a chat off camera really, and we're thinking what we should be in conversation about today. And we come up with the idea about commitment to pain management. And I think, you know, from a person with pain point of view, that's quite an important one, because I think sometimes we don't have that commitment. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't either. But Rich, tell me, I mean, good morning to you, but how do you feel about that when people come to you? Do you ever get the feeling that they're looking for a quick fix? You know, we've talked about this time and time again, but they're looking for that little bit of a quick fix, but well, what are you going to do to me, etc. And do you think they're committed to actually doing the suggestions, like perhaps the exercise, stretching exercising that you ask them to do? Do you ever get the feeling, well, you know, I can't do them for you, sort of thing? You've got to do it yourself. I mean, how do you see this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great question, a very important one, because making that decision to commit to a program of what I see as mastery. So you're seeking to master yourself and master your life, and there's no end to that. It's a bit like cleaning your teeth. You don't just do it once and then never do it again, or if you want to get fit, go to the gym once and never do it again, or you want to have a healthy diet and eat well once and then never do it again. You know, these are things and practices that we need to keep doing day in, day out, and we need to integrate into our life whilst we live. And as you know, I'm a big advocate of overcoming pain by actually living, not by just treating pain. The more you just focus on pain, the worse the outcome. The more you focus on what the person wants to do in their life and how you get there, the better the outcome. So that makes it much broader, much more interesting, and much more fun, actually, because you're doing the things that you want to do. But there are specific exercises and practices that one needs to learn and then to use each day, and you have to commit to them. And if you don't, then you won't reach your potential. And you could be saying the same to anyone who's trying to be successful with anything. So when people come along, it's very important that early on they have insight into that, and they have insight into the fact that what you're offering is empowerment. And empowerment is all about that person being right in the driving seat and being able to make the decisions. But the first and most important decision is to commit to that program. And that program will consist of a whole range of different things. Some of it's exercise, some of it's specific exercises, sensory motor training around body sense, which is very, very important. But our perception, as you know, we know increasingly, is really governed by our actions. And so changing our actions and what we put out into the world, we get back in spades. So the approach, so we have to look at what approach is this person taking? What is their style of life? How do they do life? And once you start realizing these things, then you can make the changes, because some of the things will be working. Some of the things will bring success. Some of the things will bring happiness and high energy states where they feel great, but other things won't be. Other things will be holding them back, and they're the limiting beliefs. And once we start sort of dealing with those and disrupting those patterns and creating the new ones, then that person can start to move on. So it's all about understanding those things and being able to change state, but then you've got to focus on what you're doing.
Rich, let me tell you, I mean, when I talk to other people, you know, where they're, I mean, I look at them, I listen to them and I can hear them, and I said, God, bloody hell, that was where I was back in the 90s, like, you know, and I can see where they're coming from, because I think, you know, they get stuck in the medical model.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we will do to you, and it's like, and you call it empowerment, and I think pain management is more about re-empowerment, because I think sometimes, I mean, I know for me, before I got stuck in a medical model, I was quite an empowered guy. You know, get on with life. I had plans to move to Italy, and I was learning Italian.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to night school. I was learning Italian because I was going to move to Italy and make pizzas for the rest of my life and marry some signorina. And obviously now that didn't happen, because I'm now sitting here looking at you, like, you know. So I was quite committed, you know. I was in a process, and then if the back pain sort of arrived unannounced, and then I got, you know, GP, and then I become, like, as I was talking before about the NHS health tourist, and we get sort of stuck in that that sort of roundabout of the NHS where we're going from this one to that one, and I've become sort of disempowered. That but then I was sort of thinking, like most people, well, this ain't my, what are you going to do to sort me out, and now I work the other side of the counter when I'm, I'm doing workshops or talking to people via email. It's like I can see in their question is that they're looking, well, I've got to come up with some sort of magic answer or some, I don't know. Well, this is what happened. This is all we have to do is do this, and that's it. And the thing don't really work like that. Pain management is about, as you say, is a daily commitment. This morning, I was, what time is it now? It's 10:25. But I was down at, I go down when I'm working from home. I go down to the gym during the week.
Yeah.
And to me, that's my commitment, because all the while I do that, for me, if I do my daily stretching, exercising, pacing myself, go down the gym, etc., I don't have to take any medication.
Yeah.
Any pain medication. So for me, it's about that commitment that pain management, self-management, becomes a habit, like you say, brushing your gnashes or eating healthy and whatnot. So it's that commitment. But I get frustrated myself because I think, well, look, listen, all we really got to do is this, pace yourself, daily stretching, exercising. But it's like, I can see them still stuck in that mode of, well, yeah, but is there something else? Okay, I understand that pacing and stretching, exercising. Yeah, but is there anything else I could do to manage the pain? And I think, that's it.
Yeah. Look, the shift that's required can be quite a lot for some people. There's when we're talking about change, we're talking about transforming a life. And people will change things either because they're desperate or they're inspired. And most people will begin by coming along because they're desperate. My aim is to inspire them to live their best life. And say, when you turn the model on its head and think about, right, what do you want to achieve here? How do you want your life? And you make them really work on that picture of success. And this is the model of success for anything in life. And once you've got that clear picture, then you've got a reference point, which you can then ask yourself on a daily basis or through the day, right, are these actions taking me towards my picture of success, or am I being distracted? And the distractions often come with limiting beliefs and also meeting short-term needs. So when someone, doesn't turn up or doesn't do their exercises, it's because they're meeting their needs, but they're meeting short-term needs, which is much the same as someone who says, oh, I'm really stressed, I'll have a glass of wine, rather than actually dealing with why they're stressed.
Rich, let me ask you, because you've said this a couple of times, and it's something I know what you mean, but I'm just thinking, I always think that we need to keep our explanations for that, so everybody understands. When you say limiting beliefs, what do you actually mean by that?
Well, these are, if you like, our set of rules that we learn through life. And we're conditioned to think certain things and to believe certain things. And that can come from parents, it can come from schooling, it can come from friends and peer group, it comes from society. That quick fix, that instantaneous gratification, all come really from messages in society. I can order stuff straight away. I could order stuff on Amazon to arrive later. I could order a pizza right now. I could go on a date straight after this if I wanted. So all the important stuff in life doesn't come that way. Work satisfaction, relationships, health, it comes by work each day. But it's the way that you go about it, and it's the way that you make it normal for you. If normal for you isn't having a routine of getting up in the morning and then setting your day straight by making your plans, having your intent, moving around, doing some breathing, nourishing your body, maybe exercising. If your routine is to get up, slip the slippers on, get down to the coffee machine, slump in a chair, half asleep, then you're not changing anything. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over. And what you put out into the world, you get back. So if your focus and your dialogue is all on the pain and the suffering, well, then that's what completely fills your capacity. However, if you choose to fill it with something else, then you start getting a different experience. Now, I might, when I'm speaking like this, some people might think, oh, that sounds, really easy. And of course, it's not easy. But then a lot of stuff in life is not easy. And no one's saying that it's easy, but you can do it if you decide to do it. But to decide to do it, you've got to commit to it, and you've got to do things over and over and over. And if you do, then you can get the rewards. Like any success, you look at anyone that's achieved anything, whether it be business or sport or music, it's because of this approach. It's this model that they've used. There's no magic, there's no mystery. and you can absolutely apply it in pain so that you can live a good life.
Which it's one of those things. I think it's people. It's, you know, I always come back to. I was going to sort of finish up on this. Really, is that, you know, I don't know. I used to use Charles Atlas, but when I say Charles Atlas, people say to me, "Who the hell's that?" You know, today I use the term. It's like, dear Arnold Schwarzenegger, I've read your book. Now send me the muscles.
Yeah.
You know, and if you want to, you know, if you want to look like, you know, big guns and or be fit and whatnot, you've got to do something. You know, it's not, you know, sitting in front of the TV and doing nothing, you know, being passive. It's about being active.
Yeah.
Will reactivate yourself, being an active self-learner.
Yeah. Act and think like the person you want to be.
Yeah.
That's the key. But if you keep that vision in mind, that's why I encourage people to keep a journal, because at the front of your journal, you've got your picture of success, you've got how you want to be, and you can always add the word yet to the end of your sentences. I'm not so-and-so yet, because then you're setting out your intent. What you focus on governs how you feel, and also where you put your focus, your energy will flow towards that. You'll put your effort into that. So if your focus is purely on pain and suffering, well, then you're going to get bags of that. If your focus is on, right, I'm working on this and I'm going to do this, this, and this, then your focus is on that. That doesn't mean that necessarily you're not in pain at that moment, but ultimately, if you're putting your focus on that, you're taking your steps in the right direction towards overcoming your pain. And when I talk about overcoming pain, I very much mean about living your best life. You know, we all know that aches and pains are a part of daily life. Really what we're talking about is a huge amount of suffering, because the pain is limiting someone's life. They feel that they've lost choice. They don't feel like themselves. Can they get choice back? Can they feel like themselves? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But it takes work and commitment and practice, like anything else that you want to master in life.
I'll tell you what, I noticed myself down this morning, down there, because I was struggling this morning a little bit. I don't know if it's the weather's tiring me out or whatever, but I got down there and when I worked in the expert patients program, we used to talk. Usually, one of the activities was positive self-talk. And I actually noticed myself saying it out loud this morning. You know, as I was walking across from one side of the gym to the other, I think I just done me a bit of cardio on the bicycle and whatnot. And I was going over to do some weights, and I thought, oh God, you know. And I said, come on, you can do this. Don't give up. Come on now.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah. Look, we can write our own script. We can come up with mantras. We can have rituals that we use that keep us focused. Absolutely. And I always encourage that. The positive self-talk is you know, very, very helpful, because it's getting the actions. The actions are key. You know, we can't just think ourselves better. We've got to take action. But the way that we think and the beliefs that we use, we want to work with our empowering beliefs, which are usually the complete opposite to the disempowering or limiting beliefs that everybody has. But we can shed those, we can disrupt those patterns, and we can create new ones. And when you do that and follow that path of mastery, you can achieve all sorts of things that you may have never thought you could. Everyone has great potential.
You know what, Rich, I was reading this little bit of this book. It's Pandemic. It's by a doctor from Texas in America, a lady called Melissa Caddy, and she's on the line. She's known as the challenge doctor, like, you know, and so she lives with pain herself. But, you know, I read stuff like that because that sort of motivates me. You know, I mean, I don't, you know, I'm like everybody else. I have me dips in me motivation and stuff like that. And sometimes
that's just being alive. That's human. That's completely normal. It's about learning to recognize that and set a new rule. Right, if I'm feeling in a low energy state, I'm going to change that. Within a few minutes, I'm going to change it. And this is how I do it. And you practice certain things, and it might be breathing or visualization or movement. Most people don't realize how much of the thinking and feeling comes from how your body is. And so as soon as you're feeling something in your body, if you change that, then you start to change the way that you feel. People think, oh yeah, but I move and it still hurts. That's because they're just focusing on the pain. You've got to keep focusing on what you want rather than the pain. And that is a skill and a practice. And if you keep doing that over and over and over, then you can really make steps forward. But there's always going to be ups and downs, because life is full of ups and downs. It's not whether that's going to change. It's how do you do it? What's your style? What approach are you going to choose to take here, and how are you going to go about it? And, you know, that's obviously what we're here to encourage people to get the best of themselves. And that's why coaching is such a great way of going about it.
Yeah. Hey, Richie, listen, it's been a pleasure again going in conversation with you. And it's funny enough, when I thought myself we was going to talk about this, I didn't think it was going to go in a direction, you know. And for those that have been just started to be watching videos, that they're not, you know, we have a little bit of a planning sort of mini meeting before the broadcast, but really nothing's really rehearsed. You know, what you see, what we're recording here is actually going to go online sort of thing. So I'll tell you what, I feel pumped now.
Yeah.
I feel pumped.
That's what we want. You know, I want people to go away and think, yes, I can do this. But then they obviously need the tools and the practices and the know-how. But that's the start point. If you're feeling inspired, then great. That's exactly what we want. That's the start point.
Rich, it's been a pleasure, as I say. Have a fabulous day. I know I'm going to have a fabulous day.
Yeah, absolutely. Your choice.
Yeah, it is my choice. And I think the sun has been ordered for about 2 o'clock this afternoon for Essex. I'm looking forward to that. So I might even get out on the bike later.
Excellent.
So have a great day, Rich. And I'll speak to you another time and on another groovy subject.
Absolutely.
By the way, if you've got, before you go, if any you guys want us to discuss anything, then just drop me a line on the Pain Toolkit website, www.paintoolkit.org/contact. Just drop me an email and tell us, hey, listen, can you talk about, you know, go into discussion about this? I want to find out a bit more. Then just drop me a line and we'll make another video about that subject. Okay. Have a great day, everyone. Be cool and groovy. Ciao.
Cheers. Bye.